Hello, good morning. How are you? I'm good. So, Kamal, last we have covered the reading part. First, we started by listening, then have gone to the reading part, and then some strategies for the reading. Now we are proceeding to the writing. So, in today's class, we will mainly focus on writing module. Okay? So I'll just explain you how is the writing, how you will approach it, what are the strategies, what are the things you should do, what are the things you should avoid that will drop your score. We will also talk about some I will also show you a model where you will see how an appropriate letter is written and what is the rubric, what examiners are expecting from your paper. Okay? So let's get started in writing. You know, this is profession specific. Based on your profession, you will get this topic. When you get 5 minutes reading time, remember you don't have time to write. You are not allowed to make notes on the paper. It's only the reading time. And then you get 40 minutes time to write it. And the basic requirement is the word limit should be between 180 to 200, no more, no less. Okay, if you will write more, you think that if I'm writing 300 words, whether you will get score, you won't get score. Maybe you will commit more mistakes in it. So be within the word limit. This is how the information is like that they will write your profession, then the time to prepare, then time to write. This is the basics of your writing, basic information about your writing. So this is something like you are getting a note, a case note, and the task. So your complete paper is something like, let me show you the complete paper. Okay, this is how your complete paper is like. So you have the notes, and this is the same paper I gave you as an assessment. So you have the notes, and then after that, after a long information, at the end, you have the task. Right? At the beginning, it starts from the notes and then it ends with a task. So task is given at the end. Now, how you will approach it? I hope you have a notebook and pen with you to note down the things I'm explaining you. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is how your case note and task is like that. First, you will read the case note that who you are. You will understand that what's your job and to whom you are writing. You will write a formal letter of again telling you 180 to between 200, and it will be a formal letter. You will find the purpose of the letter, why you are writing the letter, you will find in the task part, not in the note part. Why you will write that will be in the task. Now, how you will approach? First, you will look at the case study and find out who you are writing to and why. Okay, the very important part, because you get score for purpose of the letter. In the rubric 4 areas, you have the first area that is called purpose. So in the case study, you will read case study and find out who you are writing to. Number one. Number two, why? What is the reason? What is the purpose of writing? Second is select relevant information and eliminate all the irrelevant information that you think is not important to the reader. For example, a person coming, a patient coming to you in 2024 about something, about anything, and then he got long back, maybe in 2000, he fell down somewhere, and that time he had the fracture and was recovered. He got the treatment and he got recovered. Now there is no need to discuss these things after 20 years, because this is now after 10 years, 20 years. if something happened in 2020 and now it's 2024, so after 14 years again, if you will phrase that he fell down 14 years ago, and then how is he is now. Okay, so you will eliminate the information when they give you the background information about the patient. Remove all unnecessary information. Ask yourself, the information that I am writing, is it important to the reader? If you think yes, it is important, you will mention. In some case notes, they also mention that his wife died 3 years ago. So that information is not important to the reader, correct? So you remove that unnecessary information, you will remove. Then you will make a plan. You will decide how to organize, because you are getting letter for organization and layout. So you will organize that what is the thing I need to say first. For example, you are starting from the purpose. So when the reader is reading your letter, should immediately understand why are you writing to him, what's the purpose of your letter, and then you are developing further, and it should go coherently in proper organization. Then after that, the fourth step is, when you write your letter, use clear language to summarize the important information. And when you paragraph, always leave a blank row to indicate your paragraph is over. Okay, you will write in alignment, and when you finish a paragraph, it should not be without paragraphing. Make proper paragraphs. And how you will indicate the examiner your paragraph is over? Leave a blank row to indicate your paragraph is over. So if you will do with proper planning, you will get some time to read it by yourself. Now let's do step by step. First thing I said, look at the case study and find out who you are writing to and why. Read this and tell me who you are writing to.
You are a nurse.
Who you are writing to.
Okay.
It's profession based, so you know that it's for nursing. So you are a nurse, but who you are writing to? Read and
Jen Bond.
who you are writing to? You are writing to whom?
Head nurse.
Head nurse. So the information is given in the task, not in the note. And why you are writing now? What is the
Concerns and recommendations.
The purpose of the letter is
Patient.
also, the purpose of letter is,
Patient is discharged, so they need home health care. After the
yes.
discharge, they need care.
He is now ready
House
to be discharged.
discharge. Yeah.
Okay. So what further information, what relevant information you need to add?
The
You need,
address also.
okay,
History also.
history, then your
Concern,
concerns,
recommendation,
and then your
recommendation.
recommendations. First, when you read the case notes, that will be a long paper starting from notes and some information about the patient. And then at the bottom, you will see the task. So first you need to find out who you are writing to, and why you are writing to. Then only you will understand what is the purpose of your letter. Then next, you look at this. Now you will eliminate all the unnecessary information. Name is important, age is important. Do you think address for the reader is important to know?
No.
So even if you don't write the address of the patient, you get the patient details in the question prompt. Do you think this information is important? It is giving any help to the reader?
No.
So you won't add this. Okay. Do you think a social background like this is important?
Yeah, right.
Do you think it's important to tell that widower wife died in which
No,
year?
why? No, but we tell the leave alone, like manager,
Okay.
is a
All
social
the
drinker, smoker. So
okay,
we
so
tell these things also.
from this letter, my question is, from this letter, social background that is mentioned, you think it's important?
Something is, some points is important, not all the points.
Which point is important?
The social drinker, smoker, we tend to not and socialize with neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. This important.
All this is
The
not
child,
important. Only this is important. Only one line is important. You don't need to tell that whether why he's living alone in his flat, socializing neighborhood. All these things are not related to any, it is not helping the reader for anything. Okay, you have another background. This is only the social background. The remaining part is this. The remaining part is medical history. That is more important. But you look at the time. In the case note, you see the date. They said, assume that today's date is 15 May 2021. And the medical history that you are getting is starting from 2003. And then what medication he has taken in that year. I hope you're understanding what I mean. First, you will eliminate all the things that you think are not important to the reader. Because if I take you back to the task, in the task, they said using whatever the information is given, you have a patient, okay, who was admitted after a fall, right? Now he is now ready to be discharged. And it's about falling, right? So I don't think even smoking part is creating any impact on the reader related to this category. It is after a fall, right? It's not about lung disease or anything that it's important to tell that whether he is a smoker or what. Then after that, they said you're writing a discharge letter, and in your letter, you are just showing your concerns, your recommendations, and the history. So not very long past back whatever happened. So you look at the task, and then you come back to this point. You see all this information is not needed because now the date. You look at the date, and all these are older things, past medical history. So long back medical history is not needed. Then you have another information. That is your admission, hospital admission. Here, this thing is very important now. Because the problem is the patient fell down, right? So now you need to select this, but you need to summarize. Don't include all single detail. You know how to summarize that. You're making it short to the point, telling everything. So you will just select this information. It's not necessary you write the whole information. Believe me, you won't get score. You won't get lose score if you're not adding this social background, and if you're not writing about the long past history. But this is important. Okay, this is also important. The treatment record, because you see the time that you are in 2021. So you need to mention all this. So you have selected, if I were you, I will eliminate all the social points. I'll just take few if required. Then I'll go for I will remove this also because this is long past. I'll just go for hospital admission. I'll get some subjective points, some objective points, diagnosis, then the record, whatever the treatment was done. And then there is a plan that write a letter. This is the same thing. Write a head nurse at nursing home, the further care required. So you are just talking about the further care. Okay. A quick means you will ask some quick questions to you. Number one, what is your role? When you are reading the task, ask yourself quick questions. That what is my role? So my role as a nurse. Then you will search who is recipient. So who is your patient? But no need to tell the address. What is the current situation? That is important to mention. How urgent is the current situation? That is also important. What is the main point that you must communicate to the reader? What supporting information is required? Okay. And then what background information is useful to the reader? And what information is unnecessary to the reader? And why that information is unnecessary? These are quick questions that you will ask yourself. What's your role? Who is your patient? What is his current situation? How urgent is the situation? What are the main points that you need to communicate to the reader? What information is necessary? What background information is useful? And what is unnecessary information given? That's a very common mistake among many students, that they add unnecessary information. So when you are adding unnecessary information that is not helpful for the reader, it means you are deviating from the main point. Okay, take time to understand the task requirement. Use your own words to paraphrase and summarize the long pieces of information. In case notes, you have a lot of things. Even if you count the word limit of your case note study, also it is maybe nearly 200 words. You don't need to mention all of them. So make sure you understand the situation that is described in the case notes, and then you think how you will organize, how you will start, what is, you need to make a draft, that how I will begin. So in the first, what is my purpose, you can make a draft for yourself. Okay, so you are explaining the current situation in the start of the paragraphs. If it is an emergency situation, you are writing the name and address of the person you are writing to. It's not necessary to write the address of the patient. Okay, for every new paragraph, don't forget to leave a blank line or a blank row. I'm telling you again, make your paragraphs very clear. What are the things you should avoid? That you should never include everything from your case notes. Select the relevant information. And you don't copy simply the text from the case notes. You cannot write in numbers or bullet points. You cannot write number 1, number 2 are the bullet points. That is not allowed. You always write in paragraphs. So let's say you are giving the conditions, you wrote in bullet points. That is wrong. Number 1, this you write in paragraph by adding cohesive devices. Firstly, moreover, furthermore, this you can do, but you can not write in bullet points. Okay, this is how you will organize your paragraphs. In your how many paragraphs you are supposed to write, your plan. In paragraph 1, you will introduce the patient medical issue and purpose. Okay, I want you to note this with you, that you will introduce the patient medical issue and the purpose. And number 2 is, in second paragraph, you will tell a bit about history and previous treatment. In the next paragraph, you will summarize the related information and the current situation. And in the final paragraph, you will write about your concerns and recommendation. This is how you need to organize your paragraphs. Start from the purpose, talk about the history or the previous treatment of the patient, then summarize the current situation, and then you talk about your concerns and recommendations. At the same time, you think about your letter that you have written. Did you organize the same way? Started from moving to the history, patient history and previous treatment. Then the next one, did you go for summarizing the current situation? And have you given your concerns and recommendation at the end? Kamal, I want you to revise whatever you have written earlier and organize in this way. Okay. Now, when I'm explaining you, you are understanding your mistakes also. Are you understanding your mistakes?
First, I
First,
write a letter. I follow this one. First paragraph must be the medical issues and purposes and introduce a patient. Then second paragraph, we summarize the patient,
mm,
history and previous treatment. In third
mm,
paragraph, I write a summary of related information of the current situation. And
mm,
in fourth paragraph, write your concerns and recommendation.
mm. Did
I
you
will
write
check
it?
and
Did you write like this?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what was your mistake then? Don't you think that something you have selected was irrelevant or that was not needed to the reader?
Yeah.
You should simply avoid unnecessary information. Okay, you should not, even though the organization is fine, but when you will add unnecessary information, when you're explaining the summary of the patient, that will drop your score. Okay. So, what is the writing sample you started? You need to, like, this was right for you, that you are writing the name and the address, the proper layout. Okay. After that, you are writing the date, then greeting, then you are giving the reference. Then, in the first paragraph, you are writing the purpose. Then, next, you are writing the summary of relevant background information, then recent relevant information, then the request, that means your recommendation, and then signing your letter off, your concluding, or you can say closing remark like this. Okay, I'll just give you some language also that you can use. Okay, some sentences or phrases that you can use, and will tell you what you shouldn't use. So you have to write the letter that should be in a proper format, a phrase. Okay, then step by step you can see recipient name, designation, and address. Then you are writing date. You may use any accepted alternatives of date format. So if you write like this or if you write like this, both are acceptable. Then your opening sentence. Okay. How do you open your letter? The reference, you write exactly like this. These are different model sentences. Okay. When you're writing a referral letter, both these are acceptable ways that you're starting from the reason, that is the main purpose, explaining the issues, secondary related information. Then at the end you can tell about your concerns, your recommendations, discharge or management plan. Your closing remark can be something like this. Okay, there should always be a closing statement that if you have any further queries, please do not hesitate to write back to me. You can also say, should you require any further assistance, please feel free to contact me. A closing remark should be there. Okay, and then don't forget to write your name, close your letter. Sometimes you are in a hurry and you are unable to close your letter. When you feel that the time is short, and you have last 1 minute, you're still writing the last paragraph, close it somewhere. Because if you won't close it, you won't get the score for layout also. When your answer is not completed, you are getting your bad score for the content. But even if you don't close it, then you don't get the score for layout also. 4 areas how you are being assessed. There are 4 areas. The first one is purpose. The second one is content. Then the next one is, you see, you get the score for conciseness. How concise is your letter? How clear is your letter? Clarity. So when you make something concise, what does it mean? Remove all unnecessary information. And then clarity, make the points very clear that what exactly you want the person to do for you. Then you get score for genre and style, you get organization and layout score. So here you need to be careful for the paragraphing part. Here you need to be careful for the grammar when it comes to language, grammar and spelling. Because if grammar is wrong, if you just write the wrong tense form also, then you will change overall message. You will change the meaning. Okay. So a quick overview of all this, that how do you get the points for purpose. Health professionals want to quickly understand the reason why you are writing this letter. So you will know how their specific services are needed for the patient. You will get score if the reader can identify patient and you have given a concise purpose of the letter very early. That means the beginning of your letter. Second one is the information should be easy to find and understand. If you are giving a quick and precise purpose by understanding concise purpose, it should be at the beginning, and then you elaborate on what you want the reader to do for you. Usually this is the closer part. Beginning, you won't tell what you want the reader to do. Beginning, you are talking about the patient itself. What is the purpose of writing the letter? So this is like a bad example. Read it by yourself. You will understand what's wrong in this. Now tell me what's wrong in this.
Uh, yeah, the first the sentence is wrong. I saw this lady a week ago, not like this. I'm writing this letter to refer Mr. Mary Brown like this. We write
Because,
like this,
so what do
not
you
like
see?
this. I saw
The
this lady.
purpose, the purpose is not immediately given. This sentence is not providing any purpose, isn't it? In
Yeah, right.
contrast to this,
Thank
now
you
look
for
at this example.
that.
So the purpose of the letter is clear in this line, why you are writing. But if you look at this, the purpose is not so clear. Okay, compare both. So you don't need to write a lot when you're writing the purpose paragraph. It should be concise. Okay. Then second is about the content. So when you are selecting the content, be aware of what you're about your reader and their needs. So identify all the information that the reader need to continue the care. But remove all irrelevant information, because irrelevant information will distract the reader what exactly you want the person to do for you. So you are adding relevant medical background information and removing all irrelevant. You will ask, you need to clarify it. Is it a new patient for the reader, or is it an existing patient that being sent back to them? So, and ensure the information you are giving to the reader is accurate as per the case notes. Don't write anything from your side. Okay. Now, if this is the scenario that Mary Brown, 46 years old, referred back to her regular GP after removal of gallstone, then you write like this. So, is it content wise okay?
And relevant information also is there. No?
Yes. Okay. Now you see. Now you compare both these examples. You're returning the patient, then why you need to tell again the age of the person? Because the person knows, right? You refer back the same patient. So no need to tell. So you need to make sure it's a new patient for the reader or it's an existing patient to the reader. So how you will address that patient then? That this, if you are again telling everything, that will again become unnecessary. Then next you think about conciseness and clarity. So you need to find out again what is important to your reader. You do not need to add any irrelevant information that will waste their time, and that can also distract what is essential. If you will add irrelevant information, the reader maybe will be distracted and will not understand what exactly you want the person to do for you. So ask yourself, is each bit of information that you have identified relevant for the reader or it's not? Meaning, if I'm removing it, is it affecting anything on my task that I want to assign to the reader? Did you leave, and also ask yourself, did you leave anything that would distract from your main points? Okay, and when you are summarizing the information, it should be concise, it should be in clear language. So, in simple words, add all important information and remove all unnecessary information. And how you can do it? Ask yourself whether this information is important to the reader or this information is not important to the reader. Whether he will understand anything what to do or whether it will distract the reader from what exactly task is. Okay, now look at another bad example of conciseness and clarity. Scenario is already given, and you see this might be a very bad example because
Yes.
it is not concise, it is not clear, it is affecting conciseness and it is affecting the clarity as well. Okay, in contrast, you look at this, it is concise and it is clear at the same time. Right? Every information that you are providing, it is concise, it is to the point, it is clear. When talking about your handwriting style, so this is about the tone that you are using. Okay, you should be factual, clinical language you are using. You should use always appropriate, the tone should not be informal, it is always a formal letter. So the style that you are using should always be a formal letter. You should not use personal judgments or feelings about the patient, like this patient is very close to my heart, or I really felt bad when he came crying in this pain or that. You should not attach your feelings. It should be a personal letter. Okay? It should not be a personal letter. Use only internationally recognized abbreviations. Avoid all unnecessary abbreviations. Okay? The short form of the verbs, the short form of the words, only when they are generally that everyone can understand. For example, if you write about BP, that most people know that that is blood pressure, that is internationally recognized. But if you write something that is only specifically related to your profession, the short form of your words, the other people cannot understand it, you should avoid them. Okay, so first I say avoid all these short forms and try to write the exact forms. Likewise, now you see the term. So, how the reader will understand if your reader is not the same profession? But X ray, you see that everyone can understand. The language that everyone can understand. Okay, avoid unnecessary short forms of the words. Then for the layout, it's all about the structure that you are making, your paragraphing, how you organize. You just follow the same structure, that how many paragraphs, what to write in the first paragraph, in the second paragraph. So you always start from a purpose. You always conclude by a closing remark. It should be a clear structure. There should be information, background information. Then a closing remark should be there. You should know what information should be prioritized. What should I say first? The most important point at the beginning, the least important points later. How your paragraphs will logically flow. And again, don't forget to leave a blank row. Now you see, this is a very bad example of a bad organization and layout. As you see, there is no paragraphing. It gives a lot of information. It doesn't show where your one paragraph is over and where your second paragraph is starting. But if you divide up in paragraphs, you can see my clear indication of where your paragraph is over and where you are starting a new paragraph. Okay, purpose statement. When you go to the detail, paragraphing, here my concern is focusing on the paragraph, that it should not be without paragraphing, it should always be with paragraph. Next, about the language, grammar, correct use of tenses, okay, because it will create a huge confusion for the reader if you are using wrong grammar, or if you are using wrong spelling or wrong punctuation. So the reader will not understand. It's something about happened in the past, but you used the future tense, the reader will become confused. So the grammar wise, it should be fine. Now this, in this letter, you will see a lot of errors in spelling and grammar. Can you just see what are some common grammar mistakes in this letter? Okay, let me quickly take you. Yes. You will see there are some grammar mistakes and also some spelling wrong. So you see it is affecting the reader. You can see all the bold words. That grammar is making the reader confused. When you're reading it by yourself, you feel you are confused. If this letter is written to you, you will also become confused. So these smaller mistakes in grammar or in language, like spelling, is affecting the meaning a lot. Okay, you can make it clear by, you can make it perfect by correct. Save some time at the end. Even if you're a perfect writer, you always need some time to review it, because you in hurry maybe you did that mistake. But when you will save some time, that at the end you read it by yourself, you can do the corrections in terms of grammar, you can do the correction in terms of spelling. Maybe you know the right spelling. When you will read it, you will understand by yourself that it's not taking grammatically. You can do the corrections by yourself. Okay. So then the final review is, make sure the letter communicate what you intend. Make sure you met the basic requirement, the word limit between 180 to 200. Full sentences, you should not note in forms, shorthand writing, appropriate letter format, grammar, spelling. Page should be very clear, no arrows, numbers, bullet points. It should be in proper paragraphing. Okay, proper paragraphing is important. So now let me show you a model answer of what you have done. But before that, few sentences. a vocabulary, as I said you, some sentences I can give you that you can review. Okay, some introduction sentences. If you want, you can just make a picture of this. These are some common starters introduction for unknown patient referrals. Okay, then this one. This is for known patient. The previous one was unknown. Yeah, this is for known. So no need to again tell how old is he, will be discharged back into your care. So it means the person knows the patient already. So when you're giving further paragraphs, you start by on admission and a comma, and then you're giving the further information. Okay, focus on the language part. This is how you are moving your further paragraphs. So you start from a starter or a cohesive device or a topic word or sentence, and then you develop it further. Okay. You can make a picture of this, later memorize. Yeah, later memorize them because this is the proper professional language. The letter is being written, and you will get the score for tone then. And then there are some closing, these are some closing sentences. So you can select appropriate as per your letter. Okay, as per your letter, you can select any sentence. So this is how you need to close. Now let me show you the model answer of that letter that I have given you. I'll just show you again. The same note, case note that I have given you. Okay, first you have a look at the question paper again. So that was your question. You have selected the relevant information and removed all unnecessary information. Okay, then this was the task. So your main focus is on the task, that you are writing the history, concern, and recommendation. Now when you write, it is something like this. I can share this with you by WhatsApp, so later you can see, open up the review part, okay? Just check the references, that whatever I have said. Read this, and you see the purpose of the letter is clearly stated in this paragraph. It's only a model, okay? So what do you see from the first sentence itself? If you're receiving this letter, with the first sentence itself, you understand the purpose of the letter, isn't it? If you check like a reader, if you're the reader, the purpose is specific, it is immediately clear and appropriate to the task. Then you look at the content part. Okay, in the content part, you started not the long back, whatever happened in 2019. You did not write this, but you have provided medical background. So in this letter, you can see, read it by yourself, that this letter includes all relevant medical history. Then admission detail is given, current concerns are given, then recommendation is given. So there isn't anything you feel is this is something that is not important to the reader. You think everything that is written in this letter is important to the reader. And if we talk about the conciseness and clarity, so you can see the language is clear and direct. It is avoiding unnecessary information or complexity. Paragraphs are clear. Okay, you can see my remarks written with the letter. That how this letter will get a score for the purpose, how this will get the score for clarity, how this letter will get score for the genre and style. So the whole information is given. Okay, you're reading it. Okay, if you want, you can make a picture also, or if you
Yes,
want
I'll
me to
make.
send by WhatsApp. You want me to send you by WhatsApp?
No, no need, ma'am. I can put.
Okay, you have already taken the picture. Just
Yes.
revise it. Once the class is over, read it again. If you have any doubts, then you can ask. So as I said, first you understand what is the purpose, then select relevant information, remove all irrelevant information. The language should be concise. Your letter should be very clear. The reader should understand what do you exactly want. Focus on the layout also. After every paragraph, there is a blank row to indicate that your paragraph is over, and there is a proper opening and a proper closing of the letter, opening and the closing of the letter. Okay, so that's enough for today. Just revise whatever I have explained you. So summarizing everything together, writing is a very important task in OET, and a lot of students are struggling with it because there are different things we can say that they are losing the score. Number one, this might be the grammar problem, spelling problem. These are the things that will drop your score. Or maybe you are writing all irrelevant information, and or maybe you are forgetting about all important information. The task is not exactly clear. So you write like a person who is sending this letter, but once it's done, you read it by yourself like a person who is receiving this letter. So if you think that if I'm receiving this letter and I understand why the reader is writing me this, then you will understand you it means that you achieved your task. But if you think that I'm still not clear that what exactly the person wants from me, or what exactly the problem is, what exactly the concern is, it means that you didn't achieve your task. It's something either missing or something that is more than required. Okay,
Right.
so I want you to revise the previous letter once again and send me, but don't send me the PDF file. It's better if you send me the Word document like this. Okay, I'll end up the meeting now. Be with me.